this question is also from one of my YouTube comments, and is how to map keyboard knobs and slides to parameters in FL Studio. So I did a video showcasing or doing a review of my previous keyboard, which is this one here, the M Audio Keystation 61. I now have one from Arturia, which is the Keylabs Essential 61. I think that's the proper name, and I really love this keyboard because it has some pads, it has some I'm making a mess here in my desk. It has some pads, it has some control knobs or buttons, it has some sliders, it has some rotating knobs. And in this keyboard here, I only have the keys, as you can see, the keys, and then there's 2 knobs at the end. Actually, there's a slider and 3 knobs, and then the rotating the pitch and mod wheels. I was just looking at the names because I don't use that too much. So the question is how to map those parameters or those knobs, those sliders into FL Studio. And there's a really cool and easy way to do this. So let's show. Let's go with let's go, for instance, with the 3x oscillator. I like to use this plugin because it's simple, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to showcase. So let's say now that I want to have automate my parameters. So I have a slider in. I actually have 9 sliders in my Keylabs 61 Essentials from Arturia, which is the keyboard that I have in my studio. And let's say that I want to map one of the sliders to this detune knob. How can I do this? I right click here, and you see that it gives us this pop-up window. And this one here, as you can see, remote control, and it says link to controller. So if I click here, it gives me another pop-up window. And there's this option here, which is auto detect. So if you enable this one, and if you now move the slider, so I will move the mouse here, and I will move my slider with my fingers on the keyboard, and you will see that this window will disappear because it auto detects a knob or a change in my MIDI controller, and it will auto detect that change, and it will assign that knob to the knob that I move to the parameter that I just want. So if I move the mouse here, and if I move the knob, as you can see, now the knob is moving on its own because I'm moving the slider up and down. And I could do this with every knob or every parameter that I have. In this case, it's a slider, but I could use just knobs. So if let's say that I want to change here the pitch, I do the same thing, link to controller, and then auto detect. And if I move now the knob, you see this is a rotation knob, and I can just go and put this into whatever. So if I now, you see that my mouse is in this position here, and let me close this. And if I move my mouse to this side, and then I can move all the parameters at the same time with random values, as you can see here. And this is really cool. For instance, if I, let me see, let's do the same thing for the other. Oops, I think I messed up. Okay. So let me put all these knobs here, or all these sliders. And now I can move things around very easy. And let me move the mouse to this side so that you see that this is not the mouse moving, and I'm basically just moving my sliders around. And this is how you can map all the parameters of your keyboard. You can map them to any parameter here inside of your plugins, or even you can map automation and stuff like that. You can map everything into the to any parameter in your MIDI keyboard just by right-clicking here and doing link to controller. If you want to reset this, as you can see, this is a link. link 1, and it gives me channel 1 control 73. So you don't have to memorize what's the control or the button or the slide number. You just do auto detect, and you just move the slider that you want and auto detects that. So if I want to reset, let's do that. Let me reset again. Let's see. Let's reset this one and reset this one. Reset them all basically. And now I'm moving the same sliders and it's not moving. Simply not moving anything because I reset, I unlinked all the parameters. So if I want to link them again, I have to go back, link to controller, move the slider again. This is as simple as that. And FL Studio gives us some really cool ways to, or a really cool and easy way to do this by auto-detecting the parameter. Of course, you also have in your options, you have to have your MIDI keyboard. As you can see, the Arturia Keylab 61 is connected and is enabled. You can disable this one. So I disable, and now I'm still moving my faders, and it's here, the 3x oscillator, nothing is moving. If I enable this again, and if I move, you see that things now move again with the sliders. So you have to first make sure that your input or your keyboard is selected as is enabled here in the MIDI settings, and then you go ahead and do link to controller, and then you just move the slider or the knob that you want, and this will link the knob to that slider to your MIDI controller. It's as simple as that, and it really makes life easy when we are making this linkage or links in our plugins with our MIDI controller.